spring. If you're watching through the webinar, feel free to drop questions in the chat or the Q&A. If you are watching us on Facebook, feel free to drop questions in the comment section. Dean White, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jason, and welcome everyone. We're excited to be able to give you some information about our fall plans. It's a great team of panelists that we have here today, and I'm sure we're hopefully going to answer all of your questions. I'd like to add my my excitement to Jason's in encouraging you to follow through, and we'll see you in the fall at CU Boulder.
Great. Daryl?
Hi, I'm Daryl Maeda. I'm Associate Dean for Student Success in Arts and Sciences, and some of the things that are in my area of domain include the residential academic programs, student success initiatives, the curriculum of the college. And I'm also very happy to be here tonight and look forward to our conversation.
Alex.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Jernigan. I am the Director of Advising Quality for the College of Arts and Sciences and the Academic Advising Center in particular. I'm excited to join you all this evening and answer as many questions about the realm of advising as I possibly can. So if you have any, please feel free to share.
And Lauren.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Way. I work in our student housing office here at CU Boulder. We're very excited to hopefully welcome you all on campus in the fall. I will echo everyone else's sentiments that we really would love to see you here. You may see a cat or two pop up. They are also excited to welcome you to CU Boulder, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about our housing processes.
All right. Dean White, would you like to say a few words, or would you like me to go ahead and start with our first question? Oh, we need to unmute you first.
You would think that after 14 months of this, I would know to hit the button, but apparently that's not the case. No, I was saying, Jason, let's go ahead and get to the questions. That's really the important part of the evening. So go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. So our provost recently sent a message. Excuse me, hold on. Yes, our provost recently sent a message that most campus will be in person in the fall. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Well, what it means is that we are going to move towards as normal a fall semester as we can. We always want to be cautious in using that word normal. We are still in a pandemic. It is still actually increasing in parts of our country and in parts of the world. But vaccinations will indeed tamp that down. And we are optimistic that by the time the fall rolls around, everyone who wants to get a vaccination will have the opportunity to do so. And I would strongly encourage all of you to get vaccinated. So that will allow us to have about 80% of our classes either fully in person or in person with a hybrid option with an online option. Our classrooms are large enough that we can have about a 3-foot distancing between desks and still have normal occupancy in almost all of our classrooms. The only exception to that are the very large rooms that we have with fixed seating. And we will not be able to, for example, a 200-seat lecture hall with fixed seating, we won't be able to use as a 200-seat lecture hall with fixed seating because the students would be too close together. So we have really two, I think, very strong guiding metrics in our decisions here at the University of Colorado Boulder. One is we would like to give our students as much as possible the college experience that I know that we are all yearning to have. But at the same time, we need to balance health and safety. And we'll see how the pandemic is doing by the time the fall rolls around. But right now we are, I'd say, erring on that side of caution in going with a 3-foot hexagon around our students, because we want to make sure that they're safe.
Okay. And go ahead, a follow-up question for you, Jim. Will students be required to be vaccinated?
Oh, that's a great question. And if you're following the news, you know, for example, that Rutgers, which is a large state university, has said that they will require vaccinations. And here in Colorado, Fort Lewis College, which is a smaller college, about 3,000 students, is going to require vaccinations. We are looking into that here at the University of Colorado Boulder. There's a couple of important issues there. One is that the current vaccines are only approved for emergency use. And that means that it's more difficult, particularly for state entities, to mandate a vaccination. We mandate measles, mumps, rubella. But that is a vaccine that has been approved by the Food and Drug Administration and CDC. And right now, the vaccines that we have, although they're very effective, using technology that was in part developed here at the University of Colorado Boulder, they are still only approved for emergency use. So we strongly encourage all of our students coming, both those who are here now and those new students who are coming in the fall, we strongly encourage you to be vaccinated. But we're not going to mandate it. At least that's our plans right now.
Okay, thanks, Jen. Lauren, I think this one is going to be for you. This is actually from Laura. So how is housing assigned, and maybe more generally, what will the housing assignment look like for the spring and fall here?
Yeah, so we are excited to have our housing application currently open for incoming first-year students. As long as you apply within our application window, which is from March 15th until May 6th at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time, you'll be in the pool to receive housing with all other first-year students. After that date, starting on May 7th, you will be placed on a wait list. And so we do encourage students, if you're still making your decision, that's fine, but we encourage you to do so by early May so that you're able to submit that housing application. We're excited. We've been excited to have students on campus this year, and we're excited to continue that for next year. We do have some opportunities for students who live locally or who are hoping to live with a family member locally to be released from that first year housing requirement. I'd welcome you to reach out to our office at studenthousing@colorado.edu if you have questions about that, so we can help you with your individual circumstances. But we're really excited to have students on campus next year and have 30 different living experiences for you, lots of wraps, like was mentioned earlier, living learning communities and things like that. And so pretty much any experience that you're hoping to have, you can find on campus, and we're happy to help connect you to exactly what you're hoping for through our team that's always happy to chat.
Thanks, Lauren. So Lauren mentioned the residential academic programs. I know that we get many questions about the various residential academic programs we offer in the College of Arts and Sciences. Daryl, maybe you can speak to some of the opportunities related to our residential academic programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Residential academic programs, or RAPs as we call them, are really one of the premier attractions, I think, for many students. They offer really fantastic opportunities to get to know your fellow students, which is really important in a large university like the University of Colorado. And they also give you the opportunity to get to know faculty members from your first day on campus. I think that's really valuable. So in arts and sciences, we have a total of 7 residential academic programs. We have a global studies RAP. We have a health professions RAP. We have a stories and societies RAP. We have a creative minds RAP. We have a RAP that's geared towards students who are interested in philosophy, arts, culture, the humanities. We have a honors RAP. And in each of these communities, and they really are communities, students are able to live in a dorm with other students enrolled in the RAP and take classes that are actually offered in that residence hall. And these are small classes. So if you're taking a class that's normally taught to, say, 200 first-year students, if you take that in a RAP, you're going to take it at a cap of 19. So you're probably going to have 17 or 18 classmates. The other thing about the RAPs is that the faculty who teach in the RAPs are all intensely dedicated to and experts in the first year experience. In other words, they know how to teach first year college students. It is their passion, and it is their area of expertise. And so they bring a lot of ability to really smooth the journey for first-year students. The other thing that I would say about RAPs, which is really cool, is that they hold co-curricular activities. So in the past, we've had things like students going to a ball game together, or going on hikes on the weekend with their fellow students, but also with a faculty member who's sponsoring that activity. So it's really a great opportunity, and I would encourage you to look into the arts and sciences RAPs.
Great, thanks, Daryl. Lauren, I'm going to pass it back to you because we've got a couple of follow-up questions related to the RAPs. One would be, are you guaranteed a residential academic program if you apply by the housing deadline? And maybe how does that work as you're selecting among RAPs and living and learning communities and traditional housing opportunities?
Sure. And I'll also reiterate that housing deadline is May 6th at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. We have that plastered all over our website as well. You can't miss it, but we're happy to keep saying it because I know it's helpful to remember. So the housing process, if you apply during that window from March 15th until May 16th, your application will be placed into a pool with all the other applications we receive at that time. When students are completing their housing application, they submit 8 different preferences. If there's a RAP that you're really interested in, say that the global studies RAP, for example. If you really want to do that one, then we do recommend to students that you select up to 3 of those preferences for that RAP. And obviously that varies based on the room types that are available. Some of our buildings don't have as many different room types. And so you can put up to 3 in one building, but you can't do more than that. And so if there's something that you're really interested in, we do recommend putting those selections in. After May 6th, after that application pool closes, we have a housing software that goes in and will randomly assign students. And I know that for some of you that may cause panic, right? Random means that it's random. And so we aren't unfortunately able to guarantee anything except that you will have a wonderful on-campus experience at CU Boulder. And we have a lot of staff who are dedicated to making that happen. And so once you submit those preferences, our system will go through and will randomly look at them in comparison to every other. And so it's hard to say, what the likelihood is of being placed in a specific building or a specific RAP. And that's because from year to year, our students' interests change. We don't know exactly how many students are going to preference one RAP over another, or if there will be this new RAP that comes up that suddenly everyone's interested in. And so what we recommend is looking at the options that are available, really thinking about what the experience is that you want to have at CU, and then going based off of that. And as I've said, our staff is happy to talk about all of the experiences that are available. We spend a lot of time on phones with folks talking through, these are what my interests are, and so this is where you might be a great fit to live, and we're happy to do that with you at any time.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. Alex, this one we'll give to you, and I might be able to help out with this as well. This is from Phyllis. Will there be an in-person orientation for incoming freshmen? And maybe you can talk generally about maybe what first-year student registration looks like for the summer.
Sure. So I'll speak a little bit to the timeline of summer from the advising standpoint. And Jason, if you want to chime in with some other orientation general tidbits, that'd be fantastic. So for new students, you all can expect your advisor to be assigned and available in the system by May 10th. And at that point, you'll be able to schedule appointments with these advisors. You'll be able to do drop-in appointments with these advisors, get whatever questions you have answered. If you're going to be required to take a math readiness test, and you'll know because we will outreach to you via email, it's dependent upon your major, you'll know if you need to take a math readiness test, and you would need to do that by June 7th. First year students would be able to enroll between July 15th and August 6th. What you would do is you would actually have the opportunity to sign up for a 2-day enrollment window. So you would get to choose where in that time frame you actually have the opportunity to register for your classes. And you'll be able to engage with your academic advisor before then to make sure that you have all of the information you need to choose the classes that you really need to get into based on your major, your academic career, or career goals. For those of you that have AP credit or are taking AP exams this year, it's important to know that we will not have your AP scores until about July 23rd. That is when we should have your AP scores, and those scores will be uploaded into the system, which could affect some of the courses that you may want to enroll in. And then after that point, it's really just kind of watching your schedule, getting ready for classes to begin on August 23rd. And if you are looking to figure out what classes you want to take for your major or for general education, before you meet with your advisor, one, I definitely say meet with your advisor because they can give you all of the nuanced information that you would need. But you're always more than welcome to view the catalog on the website for that information.
Great, thanks, Alex. And I think most of those appointments, if not all, will be virtual over the summer. But we do, we are attempting and plan to have some in-person experiences in a college days and orientation experience in August before classes. And so I know one thing that we're looking to do is put into place, let's say, a scavenger hunt so that your students or you as a student know where your classes are before that first day of classes. And so we're working hard to make sure that you do have an orientation experience prior to starting classes. Okay, let's see, let's get another question. Let's see. Will students be able to attend football games in the fall? I can answer that. As a season ticket holder, I know that I'm getting hounded to renew my tickets, and so we are planning to have hold a regular season in the fall. I don't know what the capacity of the stadium will be just yet. That'll be subject to state and local regulations. But I do know, as far as our athletic department wanting me to renew, that's happening soon. So a schedule has been released, and I know that we're planning to have a full schedule in the fall. Jim, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, you hit the right points there, Daryl. We are, of course, we have to abide by state and local regulations, and right now we don't know what they'll look like in the fall. If they are allowing us to have a full stadium, we will have a full stadium. If they allow us to have half, we will have half. One of the things we all share is that we've been through a very unusual year plus, and we are very much looking forward to a normal year going forward. And that's our goal here at the University of Colorado.
Okay. All right. Let's see, one question probably for you, Jim. How do we get a feel for the campus? What's available as far as maybe visiting campus is concerned, or just getting a view of the campus?
Well, you can, there are virtual tours that you can take online. Although, as I just said, I think many of us are yearning to leave the online world and get into the real world. The campus is open. You can walk around. It's beautiful this time of year. It's not crowded. As the summer goes on, I think we will be able to have more opportunities for tours. I would very much just keep an eye on the website, the admissions website, and look to see, are we in a situation pandemic-wise when we can open up to have small tour groups, et cetera. So keep an eye on that. It's obviously it's a changing situation, and we will do whatever we can to give students the opportunity to tour campus, to see campus.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Let's see, we've got a question. Is it possible for a student's admission to be revoked? If so, what would be the circumstances or situations in which a student's admission might be revoked? Daryl, you want to take a stab at that?
I might, but you might know even better than me.
That's right.
The answer is yes, it is possible for a student's admission to be revoked. And I would think that some of the main circumstances that under which that might happen would be evidence that a record has been falsified, and another would be criminal activities that come to light post admissions. But I think these would be very, very rare circumstances. Jason, what is your thought?
I don't really have anything to add to that, other than if you are concerned about something that may have come to light, or you need to correct your record, or some incident has occurred, do reach out to the Office of Admissions, and it's best to connect with them to kind of find out what your status might be. So that would be my recommendation. Okay, let's see. Just give me a second. Okay. Let's see. I've been accepted, but have not received my financial aid package. Do you know when I might expect to receive that information? I'll go ahead and take that one. We're really hoping to get out our financial aid packages as soon as possible. Prior to that, May 1st, national confirmation dates. So do expect to receive at least some preliminary information over the next 2 weeks. So certainly we're willing to send out a link to financial aid in the chat, but we're really hoping to get the majority of the packages out here in the next couple of weeks. And so we don't expect you to make a decision without knowing what kind of package or what you can expect to pay. Okay. Just a second here. Just a minute here as I close the wrong window, which is always fantastic.
Jason, while you're looking for the next question, I saw in the chat or in the question some other questions about financial aid. So I just wanted to.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Yeah. And one of them was, are there opportunities for financial aid after you've been admitted and once you get on campus? And the answer is yes, absolutely. We have a scholarships database that you can sign up for, that you can search, and those are opportunities for funding that are here on campus, many of them actually within the College of Arts and Sciences, and there's just a wide variety of those, as Jason can tell you, since scholarships and financial aid are areas of his expertise. And so once you're in our systems, once you're able to take a look at that, I would really encourage all students to explore what opportunities are available.
Okay, thanks, Daryl. A question probably for you, Jim. So you did mention that the majority of the classes will potentially be in person in the fall, but will there be some opportunity for remote learning? Will there be hybrid learning options? What might that look like as far as online or hybrid learning options are available, I guess?
So we are, it'll be clear to you when you register for classes, whether those classes are in person, hybrid in person, or remote. And you can choose your modality sometimes for the same class. So for example, if it's a large class with multiple sections, most of those sections will be in person, obviously, but some of them may be remote. So you have the option to choose. There may be circumstances where that's not as easily done because all the classes are in person, for example. But if in those circumstances, certainly I would encourage you to look for alternative classes that if indeed you are interested in a remote class, look for alternatives. It's, in polling our students and talking with our students, the vast majority really want to be back in person. And so we are doing everything we can to offer as many classes as we can in person. We also know, however, that, we've all gotten a little bit used to the online world, and maybe one online class would not be such a bad thing. So that's an option that we have available as well. And for the really large are normally large classes, introduction to chemistry or introduction to economics, etc. Those will be remote because they don't fit into the or they're too big to go into the classrooms that have fixed seating.
Okay, great. Alex,
Jason?
I think we'll have a couple questions for you.
Yeah, do you
Go
mind?
ahead. I think Alex wanted to add to that. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
do you mind if I add a quick plug really quickly? For those of you that do find yourself in a remote or online course, I would like to direct you all to the academic advising website through the College of Arts and Sciences. There is a resource library there with a list of tips and tools on how to navigate remote learning and how to improve your technology skills and being able to navigate remote learning. And in addition to that, the Academic Advising Center does have a team of academic coaches that would be happy to connect with you for additional support on how to improve your skills to engage academically in a remote environment if you find yourself in remote courses.
Okay, great. Okay, I see a question about honors, an invitation to, and whether honors invitations have been sent out. The vast majority of honors invitations get sent out along in your admissions portal, along with your admissions decision. However, if for some reason you believe you should be selected for honors, you want to be considered for honors program, do feel free to email us at thecollege@colorado.edu. You can put that in the chat, or honors@colorado.edu. And we're happy to review your application. So we do routinely review students' application, and we've been doing that pretty much on a bi-weekly basis. And so if you don't see an honors invitation in the portal and you'd like to be considered for honors, we're happy to review that. Okay. Let's see.
Jason, I see a question, if you don't mind my poaching one.
Go ahead. Yeah.
A question about an undecided student. Are there restrictions on choosing a major? And the answer is no. We have some very large majors, but they're not capped. I think it's important. A couple of things are important here. One is there are some majors that really require, if you're going to finish in 4 years, getting started on that major right away. That said, we have a general education, a liberal arts approach to the undergraduate education, and taking basic courses that you need in the natural sciences and the social sciences and the arts humanities is never a bad idea. You're going to need to be taking those courses anyway. So undecided, you're not going to go wrong. I would also encourage your daughter, think about what it is that excites her. I think one of probably the most important messages that I could give you as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences is that we track our graduates as they go through life. We have many of them. And so we can tell you with certainty that mid-career earnings for a graduate of the natural sciences are the same as mid-career earnings for a graduate of arts and humanities. And they're the same as the mid-career earnings for an average graduate from the social sciences. So what is key, what is important about a liberal arts education is the liberal arts education. You find an area that you find exciting, you find an area that you can dig into, but at the same time, we're going to stretch you. We're going to get you to get out of your comfort zone so that when you're out there in the workforce, you know how to do that. You are adaptable. You can change as the job market changes. We all know that. So undecided is not at all something to be terribly concerned about. You can get into the classes, you can get your education going. You're not going to set yourself back. But there are some majors that really require that you pay attention to the tracking as you get through the courses. And that's why it's so important to contact your advisor, to contact Alex, to contact the other advisors, and stay in close contact with your advisor.
I'll just add to that quickly too. For those first-year students coming into CU, our advising program has a team of first-year advisors that are dedicated to this exploration process as well. So even if you're a first-year student that knows what major you want to go into, this our first year advisors can really help you get started. If you're a first year student that does not know what major you want to go into, they can still help you get started. And the benefit of that first year advising team is if you're a student and you change your major in that first year, you're going to stay with that same advisor who can really be that conduit to the university and can really help you explore the different areas of interest for you. Once you then progress through your first year, you transition to your second or third year at CU, you're going to be with a disciplinary advisor that can really get into the nuance of those specific majors and the requirements and how to move forward in your chosen career path, if that's where you want to go.
You're on mute. now, Jay.
Let's take myself off of mute. What are the freshman research opportunities in arts and sciences? And how would you suggest that people engage them early in their career? Anyone who wants to jump in and take that one? I'll start with you, Jim.
I'll start, and then I want to hand it over to others because I know that's a wonderful question, and it's one of the ones we like to hit out of the park. We have wonderful research opportunities for our undergraduates. There's the process is also a learning process. You approach faculty, you talk to people, you've got to get up that courage to do that, which is what you're going to need as you go through life. And you talk to the faculty and say, for example, I work on ice cores. I go to Greenland and Antarctica and places like that. And I've had many students come up to me and say, I find that really interesting. Could I work in your lab? And the answer is yes. And it's an opportunity for students to learn a little bit about the field that they may be interested in. It's really valuable for them. They may find that this is absolutely the best thing they've ever done. They may find, this is not really what I thought it was going to be. So research opportunities, we try to provide any student who wants a research opportunity, we would love to see them have a research opportunity. So Alex, Daryl?
Yeah, I'll add just something really quickly here. Definitely speak with your academic advisor. They're a little more plugged in with the academic departments and can really help you identify who you may need to go to talk to about research opportunities or interests that you might have. So definitely connect with your advisor. You'll see that that's an underlying theme to virtually everything that we're talking about today. Talk to your advisor. They can be a huge resource for you. The other thing too is I know that on the website, we're starting to develop some additional resources for internship opportunities. Definitely look around for things to come your way. We're not shy about sharing resources or information out there. So, but again, start with your advisor. They can absolutely help with that process.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, I know that this got put in the chat, but the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program, UROP, is a fantastic opportunity for students to really figure out how they want to do research. And there are two kinds of UROPs. One is, and I should say that UROP is a grant that will pay you to do research. So there are two kinds of UROP applications. One is faculty initiated, and that's where a professor says, hey, I'm doing this process in my lab and I would love to have some undergraduates help me, right? And then UROP will give the faculty some money and allow them to hire some undergraduates to do research. But the other kind of UROP is student initiated, where the student says, I've got this project and I've gone out and talked to this really cool professor who's willing to help me with it. And I want to solve this problem. And so it's a real great opportunity. And as Alex said, talk to your advisor, but it really is important to get to know your faculty members, right? Sign up for classes with faculty who are doing the kind of work that you're interested in, get to know them, perform well in their class, and that will open all kinds of doors for you.
Great. All right, let's see. Some folks are saying that their student schedules are 75% not in person. Is that, Jim, could you address that?
I would say, contact us. The odds of that happening should be very, very low. So let's find out what the what that issue is. And we can certainly work with advising and maybe identify in-person classes that would also meet the students' needs.
Yeah, and I would also add that it's possible that current student schedules or schedules in the fall fell that way when we didn't have capacity, but we anticipate to have much more capacity to hold in-person classes here in the fall. But again, contact your advisor. Do you accept dual enrollment credits? Alex, you want to take that?
Sure. Yes, we do accept credits as long as they're coming from an accredited college or university. You should be able to get credit here at CU. Jason, unless there's anything else you want to add to that.
Know that I think Alex had mentioned this earlier about AP and IB credits. Just know that here at CU, we do grant actual college credit for certain scores on those exams. I know there are other schools who grant placements credits, but you actually do receive credit towards graduation for scores on those exams.
Yep.
Let's see. And then we have a question about education abroad programs and potential opportunities through education abroad. Alex, I'll give you that. I'll give you a shot at that, and then maybe Daryl, if you have anything to add.
What I don't know if I heard the actual question. What was the actual question about?
I'll go ahead and address it. So there was a question about education abroad. Know that CU Boulder, at least prior to the pandemic, had over 300 different programs on 6 different continents. And so a wealth of opportunities. And I know that we're very eager to build that up to that prior level once we're able to fully open. So as soon as we get the okay to do that, I imagine that the whole range of opportunities will be open to folks. And just know that we've got a variety of different education abroad programs. They can be a semester long, they can be a week long, they can be during the fall and spring semester. We have some during the summer. We also provide extensive financial aid for that, for various programs. So know that we're definitely committed to supporting a study abroad experience. My own daughter who attended CU did a semester at sea when that was available, and where you actually take classes on a cruise ship. And so fantastic experience for her. And I hope that we're able to offer that sometime during your college career when things start to open back up.
I will also add with the study abroad conversation here in that definitely talk to your advisor about study abroad opportunities, because they would have a sense of where students of that particular major are going and what programs they're attending. So definitely talk to your advisor about that opportunity. And I would highly recommend checking out the study abroad website, who would be able to share much more information about what programs we have, the costs of all of those programs, and what requirements might be needed to go into those specific programs.
Okay. We have a question about deferred students and housing. Lauren, maybe you can talk about how we are addressing housing for students who deferred to this year.
Certainly, we know there's a lot of students who made the difficult choice to postpone coming to CU for a year, and we're really excited to welcome them in 2021. For the students who are entering CU as new incoming first-year students, despite deferring for a year, they have the same housing options as any other first-year student. If they took classes over that year, then we do recommend reaching out to admissions to best understand their status. Some of these students are coming in as actual transfer students rather than deferred or first-year students, and so that can impact the housing options that they are eligible for. But if you're a specific student or you have a question about this, please do feel free to reach out to us over the phone. We can pull up your student's account and look at it to make sure that we're showing exactly the correct housing options that they're eligible for.
Okay, so a couple more questions for you, Lauren, now coming in. So if a student has already submitted their housing application, can they go back and select a wrap?
Yeah, if after we've talked up the wraps, now you're really excited about them, you totally can. So what we recommend is just going back into the housing application. You can change it as many times as you like. There's no cap on it. It just has to be done by May 6th at 11:59 p.m. Anything that happens up to that point, you are welcome to change it as many times as possible. And I think I saw one more housing question about the if there's an application fee. There is. So there is a $50 application fee, and that is non-refundable. And then there is also a $250 security deposit that is refundable. So if for whatever reason a student fills out that housing application and then either decides that they would like to submit a petition to live off campus with a family member in Boulder or within 30 miles, or if they decide sadly to attend somewhere other than CU, that $250 security deposit is refundable, but the $50 application fee is not.
Okay. All right, we're going to keep it for one more for you. What sort of health protocols have we put in place within housing to make sure that students are safe? And then Jim, I'll probably go to you with what are we doing in the classrooms and our campus buildings to talk about that.
We are really hopeful that we'll be able to have a more normal, I know I've talked about that a lot, a more normal campus experience in the fall, but are still working really hard to keep all of our students safe. And so, you know, we've heard things like, will there be masks required in common areas in the buildings? The university is still working to make final determinations on that, you know, obviously in conjunction with public health experts working to ensure that we are keeping students living on campus as safe as possible. We did this year and expect to again next year be holding isolation spaces for students. Should they be testing positive for COVID, we'll be able to support them in that regard. And I know that the Pandemic Response Office and also the Wardenburg Health Clinic have been really incredible in supporting those students who have tested positive while living on campus to make sure that they have access to the resources that they need and that a really terrible experience is made slightly less terrible by all of that support.
Great, thanks, Lauren. And Jim, maybe talk about some of what we've done to modify our classrooms to ensure student safety, or to work towards student safety, I should say.
Yeah, we are fortunate that we have on the faculty several world experts in aerosols and in transmission of diseases through the atmosphere. You might have seen them on the news shows. They have been advising to the state, they've been advising to the federal government. They very early on made a point that we should do a couple of things to all of our classrooms. One was to filter the air better. So we have HEPA filters in all of the classrooms, in some classrooms, multiple HEPA filters. So the air is purified more often than we need to ensure that virus transmission rates are extremely low. So we try to overdo that. The other thing that we've done is we have increased the airflow in rooms. So in rooms that have central airflow, for example, in classrooms that have central airflow, and in dorm rooms that have central airflow, we have those systems are running pretty much constantly, and they will continue to do that in the fall until we're sure that we're in a more safe place when it comes to COVID. What that does is it changes the air in the room more frequently. And so if there is somebody who is sick, who is shedding the virus, then the probability of transmission decreases because you have less chance for the air to stay in the room for any length of time. Let me just add, even though it's not part of the question, it's kind of part of the question. So we also developed a test, a rapid test for COVID-19 on campus, and all you have to do is drool. It's called spit, but you drool into a tube. It's really easy to do. You get the results back within 24 hours, typically within 12 hours. What we found with that, and we test all of our students who live on campus this fall and the spring. What we have found, interestingly, is that about 90% of the students that test positive for COVID-19 have no symptoms. And that is changing somewhat with the new variants, but it tells us that this is the reason why this disease can spread so rapidly and so insidiously is that you can be sick, not know it, be shedding the virus, and through no fault of your own, be a transmitter of that disease. And so our aerosol experts told us, purify the air and change the air as rapidly as you can. Now that comes with an expense, but that is certainly an expense that we believe is necessary for our student safety and for the safety of our faculty and our staff as well. We have also instituted a longer, what's called passing time between classes. We used to have about a 10-minute passing period. So you would get 10 minutes to go from one class to another. We've increased that to 20 minutes. That gives us more time to space our students out a little bit more. And that has proven to be quite a help. We're going to keep that 20-minute passing period this coming fall. Probably that will go back to 10 minutes in the spring, assuming that COVID behaves itself. But this fall, that will continue to be on our list of things that we do to keep our students safe. I think that's, yeah. Back to you, Jason.
Thanks. So we've got a question. Some parents' financial statuses have been, or stati has been greatly impacted during the pandemic. Obviously, that's a serious issue. If they're unable to afford in the current academic year, then what options would they have for future years? I'll go ahead and answer that question and say, certainly contact us if you get your financial aid package and it's potentially not something that's workable for you. There are appeal options with financial aid. And certainly we can work with you to see what the college can do. So certainly that would be number one, would just be to double check with financial aid and in the College of Arts and Sciences to see if there's anything that we could do to potentially make college a little bit more affordable for this year. If it turns out that this year isn't an option, you can defer enrollment. I think Lauren addressed the housing issue earlier, but it's something that was fairly common this year. We're making everything we can do. We're making every effort possible to make sure that students can come back without missing a beat if they need to take a gap year before attending CU. Lauren, we got a couple of housing questions.
Jason, just quickly, there's a follow-up to air handling from Beth.
Okay.
Do the residence halls have air purification systems and increased airflow? And the answer is yes. And I can tell you that we checked and we have no evidence of transmission of the disease in classrooms, and it's very rare in the dorms. And part of the reason for that is the increased airflow and the air purification systems that we install.
Okay, so a couple of housing questions. One, are there dorm options for people who would rather not have a roommate? And then I think there's another one. I'll let you answer that one. Another related one will be, do you have double occupancy dorms, or will all students be placed into a single? Singles?
There are flavors for every kind of housing option that you are hoping for. So I will say that for students who are hoping to not have a roommate, those room types are less common. Our most common room type on campus is a double with a community bath, which is for many of your parents, many of us, the college experience that we had, that is our most common setup. But there are options for students who are looking to have a little bit more privacy, either in a suite setting where they're maybe sharing a bath with only another 3 other students instead of a hall's worth of students, or if they're hoping to have their own individual room, that is certainly something that's available as well. Like I said, those are less common, but that is something that you can preference as you are going through your housing application. And then for the second question, this year we did a lot of density related reductions. So we took any room that was a 5 or a 4-person occupancy down to a triple. And we did a lot of that in order to help keep our students safe. We're hoping to not have to do quite as much of that next year. We're hoping to have a more normal experience in the residence halls and on campus. We'll certainly be open to, if the pandemic shifts, making shifts on our plan as well. But at this time, we are expecting to have a more normal occupancy in our rooms for next year.
Okay. And then before we leave you, Lauren, we've got some questions about guaranteed housing for, let's say, first year students versus students who choose to defer.
Yeah, you will find that we rarely say guarantee, because as we've all experienced in the last year, I guess we're almost more than a year at this point, 13 months, nothing is a guarantee. And so if you have a question about your specific student or your specific status, we do recommend reaching out to us. Our phones are open from 9 to 4 Mountain Time all weekdays. And so the easiest thing to do is for us to then pull open your student's file so that we can look and see exactly the options that are available to them. But like I said earlier, for students who were admitted for fall 2020, didn't take any classes in that year, and so will be admitted for fall 2021 as a new incoming first year student, we are able to offer those students the very same first year housing application that brand new graduated in 2021 students are seeing. And so if your student logs into their MyCU Living portal and sees the housing application 2021-22, that is the first year student housing application that they're seeing. If they see something different, I would encourage them to call our office, because we can help either make sure that they're seeing the right application or help explain why that might be the application that they're seeing.
Okay, great. As we get into the last 10 minutes here, I just want to let you know, if for some reason we don't get to your question, we're going to capture as many as we can in the chat so that we can follow up with you. We'll do our best to answer those questions if we can't before the end of the program here. So feel free to continue to post in the chat, and we'll do our best to capture those, and we'll do our best to get back to you. If you've got questions later on, please feel free to email us at thecollege@colorado.edu, thecollege@colorado.edu. That's our email address for further questions. If you come up with questions or if you have questions that we weren't able to answer today. A couple of questions related to academic advising. Maybe, Alex, if you could talk about the major advisors, maybe versus the first year advisors, and how advising works generally, how advisors are assigned, or the roles in the college.
Sure. That's a great question. So it's the way that advisors are assigned. If you're a first year student, you're coming in, we have first year advisors that they're more generalist in nature. They can speak about a number of different majors, but they do also have a close connection with a specific grouping of majors on campus. So for example, if you are a first year student who's interested in chemistry, the likelihood of you getting a first year advisor that has some sort of connection with that with the chemistry advisors or chemistry major is very high. Now, if you're an undeclared major going into arts and sciences, you could be paired with any one of our first year advisors who can help answer any questions that you have and can help walk you through all of the different majors, or a variety of different majors that we have within the College of Arts and Sciences. Now, as you progress, the disciplinary advisors that you would be assigned in your sophomore year through graduation are more specific in nature. So they're tied to a department or a grouping of departments. So if you are, I'm going to pick on chemistry again. If you're a chemistry major, you're going to have an advisor that specifically works with the chemistry department. Same thing if you're an econ major, you'd work with an econ advisor that works directly with that department as well. Now you might be a chemistry advisor or a chemistry student, and your advisor will work with both chemistry and biochem, but those majors will correlate. So they are more specific in nature as you move further along in your college path. The student to advisor ratio, I see that message in the chat. It does change a little bit depending on what major you're in. Some of our larger majors, we have more advisors and we're able to spread that out a little bit more. I will tell you that the caseloads for first year advisors are some of the lowest caseloads that we have within our advising unit, primarily to help those exploring and to really dig into more of your plans early on in your college career, where disciplinary, we are working as much as we can to lower those caseloads. I will tell you that you will be able to connect with advisor when and if you want it. We have not had concerns about students not being able to connect with their academic advisors. So you will be able to get the support services that you need and want.
Thanks, Alex.
And Jason, if you don't mind, I would just like to also say very nice things about our advising. Our advisors are fantastic. And our system that we have is going to guide you as best we can through your time at the University of Colorado Boulder. We know that today more and more students are double majoring, more and more students like want to have a minor, more and more students want to have certificates. Your advisors are the main and best place to get information on how is it that I am going to be both a music major and a chemistry major. How do I get through? Your advisors can help you out. So please do lean into them. They are here for you, and they do a fantastic job.
Thanks, Jim. I know that we're getting a lot of questions about potentially visiting the campus. I know that we're really looking to open and offer as many in-person opportunities as possible. I do think, or we do hope to be able to offer campus tours in the summer. As for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we don't have any formal on-campus in-person visit programs scheduled. And so that's, we just don't know if we can get that set up in time for April. That said, beautiful campus, the campus is open. So if you are local and you'd like to go and come to campus and walk around, certainly encourage you to do that. If you're out of state, we don't have formal programs. So unless you're in town for a ski trip or just to see the town, we don't at this time have formal programs set up. That said, we're going to try to open up as soon as possible, and we're very optimistic that we'll be able to start offering campus tours as early as the summer. For fall, we're a lot more optimistic about student experiences. We know that a big part of the student experience is not only academic, but social. And so as far as the clubs and activities, we're working as hard as possible to make sure that that we get as close to a regular, I guess, or traditional experience as possible. Let's see, with 3 minutes left, maybe some final words, Jim, for our group.
Just, thank you for your interest in the University of Colorado Boulder. We believe in well, let me put it this way. I think you can get the best education in the country at the University of Colorado Boulder. It's going to require your working. We are a large state university, but we will give you the best education in the country, and we will give you the training that you need to succeed in life. That is our goal, because we are here to serve the state, to serve the country, to serve the world. And we do that by training the bright young minds that become the difference makers in the future. So we look forward to seeing you here. And we really look forward to having as normal an experience as we can in the fall. We are just as eager as you are to get out of our sweats and get out of our houses and get back to some really strong semblance of normalcy. So we're doing everything we can to get there. And we hope to have you along for the ride.
Great. Thank you, Dean White. Thank you, panelists, and thanks everyone for joining us this evening. Really appreciate you taking time out during the week to ask questions and spend some time with us. And we hope to see you in the fall. Please do feel free to reach out to us with further questions, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks so much, and have a great evening.
And go Buffs.
Go Buffs.